On the note of British acting, I actually went to the Shakespeare Festival the other day, and we have a package for you. And then later on, we'll talk with Kathleen Angel, who was the Shakespeare Festival steward. Hi, I'm Luigi, and we're here at the Shakespeare Festival with all these Elizabethan actors playing Shakespeare's legendary characters, right? Yeah! So the Shakespeare Festival isn't just about acting and poetry, it's also about music, and you two just played. And what are your names?
I'm Victoria Vigil.
I'm Judy Tran.
So we have Victoria and Judy. What instrument do you both play?
The violin.
Violin as well.
Both of you play the violin. How long have you guys been doing this? How long have you guys been doing the Shakespeare Festival, that is?
This is my 3rd year.
This is my 2nd year.
So 3rd year, 2nd year, and both of those times I assume you played the violin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So there's a lot to do here. What is your favorite part about the Shakespeare Festival?
Watching all the elementary school kids do.
I really enjoyed Shakespeare Festival. Everyone dressed up nicely. I'm overwhelmed right now.
And as you guys can tell, there's tons of kids all around here, and they're all actors, all little Elizabethan actors. And with the plays in mind, because when we think Shakespeare, we usually think plays, what would be your guys' favorite play or character?
My favorite character is Puck.
Puck from A Midsummer's Night's Dream. Great character. How about you?
My favorite character is Desdemona.
Desdemona. So as you can tell, such a large event like the Shakespeare Festival can't be done without great volunteers. We have a volunteer right here. What's your name?
My name is James Brown.
So what do you do around here? You know, do you go around, kind of usher people around, pick stuff up, move it around? What do you do?
I'm more or less a stage manager, keep everything timely and everything, so that's what I do here.
I'm assuming you know about Shakespeare. Shakespeare had so many great characters and plays. What would be your favorite play or character?
I'd have to say Hamlet. I saw it twice already.
You've seen Hamlet twice already?
Yes.
Does that include The Lion King as Hamlet?
Yes, it does.
So what's your name, buddy?
Angel Acosta Solis.
So Angel, and what school do you go to, Angel?
Southmore Elementary.
Southmore Elementary School. Angel, you were just acting up here, and is this your first time doing this? First time?
Yeah.
Do you want to interview? And did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a little scary, but I kind of liked it.
With a little scary, talking in front of people. So, what's your favorite character? Because Shakespeare had a lot of characters. What's your favorite character?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? Do you want to continue doing acting?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that something interesting, fun to you? Well, that's nice. Thank you a lot, Angel. We had a lovely day here at the Denver Center for Performing Arts for the 30th annual DPS Shakespeare Festival. We met William Shakespeare, we met Queen Elizabeth, we met actors young and relatively old, about my age, most of them. Hopefully today you will be inspired to explore the works of the Bard for yourself. And who knows, next year you might be here performing yourself. For the Homework Hotline, I'm Luigi.
They just caught you going. Welcome back. So today we've got Kathleen Angel from the Shakespeare Festival. She is the steward, and I'm not 100% sure what that means. So welcome, Kathleen. Tell us what your job title means.
Well, you know, technically it's the district coordinator, but there are 200 coordinators.
Oh, wow.
So it gets really confusing. So we were bantering around for a word, and steward is someone who is a guard over something. You are a steward, the guardianship. And so we thought that was a good word.
It is, definitely.
Shakespeare Festival steward.
Definitely. How long has the Shakespeare Festival been happening here in Denver?
This year was the 30th year.
Wow.
Now, interestingly enough, this started in 1985, so technically it was the 29th, but they had some dramatic superstition, and they skipped the 13th year.
Nice. Okay. Very typical in theater.
It's the
Yeah.
30th year, and we'll go with that. Yeah.
12
so
to
funny.
14.
Right.
No 13. Let's just not do it.
That's great.
I like it. Except I'm not going to do that with my birthday. If that's okay.
Yeah. We'd all just skip 13.
Right. I know.
So, what is the purpose of doing the Shakespeare Festival? I mean, I love Shakespeare. I know a lot of people maybe don't, but it seems like from our video we have a lot of kids involved. So, what is the purpose of getting all these kids at such a young age,
Do you know, Shakespeare appears to be daunting. It really is not once you get the language down and you understand.
Right.
It's very melodic, very dramatic many times, very philosophical. So actually in 1984, so it was, maybe you could say the 30th year, the superintendent at that time approached Joe Kraft, who was a retiring actor and English teacher, and said, I want to have a Shakespeare festival, and for the purpose of keeping that language alive, engaging them in dramatics, in theater, in history, in philosophy, dance, playing, and so they started with 25 students, high school students, and now we had a little over 5,000 this year.
That's what I was just going to ask
Wow.
is how many, and what ages are
It's open from kindergartners through 12th graders, so from 5 to 19,
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
which
That
is
is really,
amazing. It
really
is
cool.
really amazing.
So you mentioned the superintendent back in the early 80s,
1985.
but I heard that our superintendent, Tom Bozeman, was there this year in a very unique role. Is that right?
Yes, Mr. Boasberg decided to be a gravedigger. It's a very famous scene where in Hamlet, our theme play was Hamlet, and one of the most famous scenes is when Hamlet is in the cemetery and he comes upon a gravedigger
Right.
who's making fun of the dead and throwing skulls.
He's kind of the comic relief in that play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you always see, with Hamlet and the
the skull.
skull. Okay.
But then they go into a very deep, then Hamlet
Right.
picks the skull up, and it was one of his childhood friends. It was the jester of court who was sort of like very dear to him. So it goes from the sort of disrespectful, ludicrous to a deep talk. And the superintendent did a great job. He dressed the
That's
part.
awesome.
He insisted on a spade and a skull.
That's
It was great.
Awesome. So why do we call Shakespeare the Bard?
He is arguably the greatest writer in English history. And I would say that he's the greatest writer in English history. His poetry, his histories, tragedies, comedies, sonnets, songs even. It's just, and he keeps going on and on and on.
Right.
The Globe Theater is going to take Hamlet, they just announced this year, and take it around the world.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing how it keeps going.
That's true.
It's sort of like the gold standard.
It is. So I know what I say when people ask me this, but what is your response when people say, "Oh, well, I heard that Shakespeare didn't even write any of those; that somebody else wrote all of his plays"? What's your response to that?
My response is that it was obviously not, this is controversial, because
Right.
some people say it's just terrible.
Yeah.
I personally think it was Francis Bacon. And there's a lot of evidence toward that,
Sure.
because whoever wrote these was obviously not illiterate.
Right.
And they had to have great insight into the court, great insight that a commoner, they couldn't even get through the walls,
Right.
let alone know all the nuances. So to me, it's very clear it had to be someone in court, and many things point to Francis Bacon.
And I always think, whoever it was wrote every single one, because every play is almost the exact same length with the exact same amount of characters, and you see the same themes and language in the sonnets and the plays
Right.
repeated. So if it wasn't Shakespeare, it was somebody else who did it all, So.
Well, he was shaking the spear of wisdom.
Right.
And there's it's just very interesting what runs through Shakespeare.
I know, it is. I
Very
think there,
interesting.
you know, forget the Da Vinci Code. I think we need to go back to the Shakespeare Code. You know, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. So Shakespeare Festival is every year, kind of in the spring. How do kids get involved in this? How do they, you know, sign up?
At the beginning of the year, I send an email to all the schools and say, okay, this year's theme is it's on this date. Who is your Shakespeare person? I put them on the mailing list, and then we have a series of trainings for teachers trying on how to engage their students. And many of whom are not English speaking, about 40% are
Right.
ESL. And then we have trainings for the teachers. Then in February, they have to let me know if they want to come, and we audition them. They are, every school and act is auditioned, and we had over 500. We had 550 acts this year, separate scenes, I should say. Because the purpose of that is not to eliminate, but it really helps them to take it seriously, and they must have it memorized. Scripts are not allowed,
So
period.
quality control, basically.
Yes. Well, you know, we are only the second festival in the United States to receive, it's the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington, D.C. gives a stewardship award, and we're only the second festival in the United States to receive it because of this, because of the quality control. It is not a giant field trip
Right.
by any means.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So you have to be involved. You have to be serious about making,
Yes.
you know, quality performance.
And
if
you know,
want to
the-
be involved.
Yeah, and it's only from 2 minutes to 8 minutes. If you're an orchestra, 15 minutes. But it's amazing how long it takes to master that.
Oh, it's hard to memorize Shakespeare. I had to memorize a monologue for one of my high school classes, and because it's just not normal
Not
language,
initially.
not your everyday
Not
language.
initially until you get into it.
And then it
Until you
becomes
get
kind of
into it.
sing-songy. So that, I guess my question would be with the ELLs, ESL students that we have, because Shakespeare is so tough for native English speakers. So how are you guys engaging our ELL students?
Do you know, a lot of that is the teachers. The teachers are telling them this is going to be fun.
Right.
This is the best of the best in English, and if you can do this, you can do anything.
High expectations.
High expectations, and they are very proud of themselves. I mean, almost 40% were ESL this year,
Awesome.
doing it all in English.
Right.
And they're very proud of themselves when they've done it.
They should
and you
be.
engage them, and it's fun, and you don't have to do the really hard things. There's a
Right.
lot that's very easy, but the fact that they learn to travel, they're in a group, you know, for the opening ceremonies, there's
Right.
a parade, how do you behave all day, how do you perform, jitters, there's a lot that they get out of this.
Right.
Yeah, and not just Shakespeare. I mean, it's like so much more.
Exactly, and then the costuming and the
Yeah.
dance. So once they get the whole picture, it's not hard to include them.
Great. That is so awesome.
That really
Anything,
is.
you know, anything we can do to engage students of all backgrounds.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much
You're
for coming
welcome.
on our
Thank
show
you for
today.
having me.
I'm so excited for next year, and you'll probably be hearing from me early in the year because I
Good.
want to get some kids
I'm
involved for
interested
next
too.
year.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would, and you know, it's free and open to the public.
Right.
So anyone
Right.
can come.
Awesome. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.